Ladies and gentlemen, this is the restart for the red flag on lap 14 then.
Okay.
Lap 1 of the red flag restart.
The 25% race.
Wait, did you change that then?
I did, I think. I think I did.
I don't know if you did. Yeah, you did, okay. Here we go, the race getting ready to start and waiting for players. Here we go then. Tice on pole position for the restart of the red flag with Dan in second place on the front row. Will Dan manage to get a good start? Lights out, away we go. Tice gets a decent start. Brett gets a fantastic start. But he's stuck behind Dan. Oh, that's unfortunately gets boxed in there. 3 wide almost between the cars in second position. Trying to battle that is Ian is under pressure from Brett immediately. Tice will gun his restart. Will he manage to do anything here? We'll go look at the telemetry now. Here we go then. Dan is really close to Tice actually here on this first lap of the restart, but Tice does seem to have the pace. We'll see if Dan can do anything on this restart. This is his best opportunity to do anything in this race for the race lead. As he heads down here, Tice is leading from Dan in second place, Brett in third, and Ian in fourth. We're going to look on board with Brett now as he's going to be the main contender for this race, but Dan is using some of his ERS. I believe, no he's not. Heading down here, and Tice just keeping his ERS as high as it can be, as he does. Brett, once again, it's just unfortunate. He needs to stop using ERS. He is fast enough to make a move on Dan. I know it's important to get ahead of him quickly, but he needs to save ERS. That is the smartest thing to do right now. As he comes through here, very good exit from Brett through into Chapel. As he comes out the corner, a huge run as he comes out the corner now, right behind Dan, but Dan using ERS, I believe. Or somehow managed to have more straight line speed without even using ERS. Around the outside, Dan will have to defend, but Brett seems to have the better stream. Oh, that's contact between the two of them, and Dan almost half spins, but manages to save the car. A good save there. And Tice now will have to face the pressure. The predicted pit stop strategy is a 1-stop here today. I believe that Brett will probably pit on lap 4 here. The soft tires will come off a cliff in this race. Tice with the fastest lap, but it's 5:10. This is closer than it was last time, and with a slightly more competitive race. Now it's Tice the one using it, but he makes a mistake. And through the corner now, Brett being a better braking zone now. He's going to be right behind Tice through here. And if he can be patient, he rides the curve as well. This is a huge opportunity for Brett to make a move. Down the back straight. And it's Ian staying close as well, but if he doesn't use ERS, there he is. That's smart driving there from Brett. He won't lose too much time in the straight. It's kind of depressing to watch, but in this position, it's the best thing he can do is to save ERS behind Tice and wait for the DRS to be enabled using that. Tice runs wide. That's the line he seems to prefer at this track because it gives him much better exit. And with the traction control that Brett has, it is actually beneficial to him to do that. But once again, Dan just doesn't stay on the insides down the old pit straight. It just losing him just a little bit of time to Ian now. Ian now coming back through. Dan seems to have a wiggle there on the exit of the corner for some reason. As Ian now closing in on Dan. Here we go again. This is Brett's a good opportunity. He's going to use the ERS down the straight. That's not the best move, but he will be faster. Now Tice is using ERS as well, but he has nothing to lose here. He has more ERS to use and to burn, and it does seem to be beneficial to him because he didn't gain that much time on the straight, did Brett there. Brett realizing that it's probably not a good idea to use the ERS that he has. Ian now on the inside of Dan makes a move stick and he pushes him off the track, but that is okay. Dan on the outside, just behind now. Yeah, Dan went wide there, unfortunately, and that gave Ian third position. This could be a very good opportunity to get a genuine podium here for Ian without any luck coming involved here. A very good drive from Ian today. He looking on it today, and now already he's losing time, but Dan gets a good first corner now. So Dan seems to be better at following the car ahead than Ian is, and that is going to be crucial for this battle because Ian is faster, I'd say, on outright pace, but Dan is just better at following. So this is going to be very interesting. Oh, a huge moment. There's Dan right behind the back of Ian, and wow, that is so crazy to watch as Brett just doesn't have the pace. That's because Tice has used so much ERS that probably going for fastest lap in the meantime while he can. As Dan is right behind Ian now with the DRS. He's right on his tail now. Going into Brooklands, this is interesting as Dan keeps a very tight line, very patient on the throttle, but a little bit too patient. And that has compromised his exit as he heads out there onto the pit straight, going to Cups. On the inside, the Dan manages to maximize his line. On the inside, he's right behind, and I believe that he'll have a really good opportunity as Ian breaks too much going through here. This is going to be a crazy moment down the straight. And Brett is outside DRS of Tice. This is crazy. But that's the thing, Tice has no ERS to use. So if Brett can pick up the pace here, he has a chance to still get ahead of him. Dan now, right behind Ian. with the DRS. He's got a little bit of ERS, but not quite as much. It's about the same, but he's using ERS is Ian. Keeping it even though in the ERS department. Very late on the brakes from Dan. That is good, but he makes a little bit of a correction mid-corner. Goes wide, but that's fine. He'll still be close enough to make a move here. The battle in this race is very much for third place now, more than anything else, as Tice does indeed get the fastest lap of the race with a 1:29.9. A very good lap for a race pace. And across the line it is Ian who is ahead in this position. Battle for third place. Dan just behind. So Dan in the battle for third position. Will he make a move here? Not quite. Well, yeah, oh, that's very aggressive from Dan on the inside. Almost tried to make a move. He's trying to see if there was maybe forced an error there from Ian, but didn't quite manage to do so. Thought the gap maybe been open for a move, but wasn't quite close enough. But that's a good exit from Dan now here. This is risky if he wants to make a move into cups. I don't think he will, but if he gets to run, he might as well take it. Or defending there is Ian. That's going to be bad. Around the outside of cups. No way he'll make that move stick. He goes off the track, but they're still side by side almost. Just managed to keep a wheel there. The front wing is alongside Ian. Incredible moment there as they headed side by side through cups. Ian just braking way too early there for that corner. Has given Dan a huge opportunity now. Keeping a tight line through here. And he's going to have a huge run down the hanger straight into Stowe corner. This is going to be interesting as Dan has a huge run. And that run will be big enough. He has slightly more ERS as well. And down the inside, Dan's going to try and go. He makes the move stick on the inside of Stowe. What will Ian manage to do? He gets the switch back almost. Not quite. Both the leaders pit. That's crucial for the race. Brett pits on the same lap. And there's contact between the two of them in the braking zone. Ian goes in deep. And that has given a lot of breathing room to Dan as he gets a straighter exit and gains a huge chunk of time on the exit. Up to 7/10 of time. But Ian is very fast. Let's look at the pit lane now. Brett is the first to pit. Very nice battle between the two of them for third place. Very clean. As Brett comes out closer to Tice crucially than he was before, I'd say. It's around about 1 second the gap between the two of them. But it'll be very close on the pit exit. Ian is still staying within the DRS of Dan rather. Excuse me. And that is crucial because that means that Ian will have... I think that Dan is much more comfortable with the soft tyres than he was on the mediums in the previous attempt of this race. But look at this. Brett is right behind Tice now. And Tice didn't really have that much time to gain ERS. So this is going to be crucial as Brett does have a decent amount of ERS now relative to Tice. So this could be a good opportunity for Brett to make a move, and Brett is very aggressive. He can stay within DRS. He will make an aggressive overtake if he gets close enough. Oh, Brett taking a very aggressive tight line there, but he's going to really cost himself on the exit. He does just a little bit. Short shifting though to try and gain time as the battle for the net race lead. If there's a safety car now, that could play into the hands of the race leaders. But a safety car is unlikely unless Brett makes an overly aggressive move on Tice here, which is plausible because he's really close going through cups, heading towards Marcus and Beckett. If he can stay close here, this is his best opportunity yet to make a genuine challenge for the race lead without any real attempts from Tice to get back at him. And he does keep quite tight. It's a good exit here from Brett. He short shifts massively. That'll give him a huge exit down here. This is the best opportunity for Brett so far in this Grand Prix to make a move. Tice goes defensive on the inside, going into Stowe. He goes down the inside, does Brett. Makes the move, but Tice is going to be faster on the inside, but he's going to get a bad exit. Brett stays side by side as the heads are here. Going through Stowe, going into the Bell chicane. Brett has the outside line, but Tice is on the inside and will break late. Will force him wide, but Tice has the inside line. Oh, sorry, Brett has the inside line, I should say. On the inside, going into the final corner, but Tice has the better ERS amount here as this race is now really getting intense for the race lead. Brett takes the lead for the first time in a while since the restart. Since just before the restart, it's the first time Brett has led this race, and from last to first today would probably give him driver of the day. Tice has fastest lap, however. And this is interesting now. Can Brett hold on to the lead? Look at the ERS difference though. Going down this straight, Brett, if he goes defensive, might have a chance to defend here, but I don't think it's going to be very good. He'd have to very defend late. He does, but not enough to keep Tice behind him. But he's going to brake really late. That wasn't the smartest move to do there. He gets a switchback. Can he manage to force a move? He gets a straight line through here. No, Tice manages to defend perfectly. Heading through here, but on the inside, somehow Brett gets an incredible exit. And he's still alongside him now. The battle really intensifying for this race lead. Brett stays on the inside, but Tice has the ERS advantage down the straight, and that'll give him just enough speed to keep ahead. This race is really intensifying in these last few laps. Brett running wide, trying to gain any time he can on Tice, and Tice crucially losing ERS in this battle between the two of them. This is the most pressure that Brett has put on the whole race, and again, crucially, as much as Dan has more ERS, there's still a good amount of ERS for Ian to manage to make a move here, but once again, it's going to be a battle between the DRS because both drivers are low on ERS here. in this race, and it's going to be a move. Brett might go to the inside. He's going to try and brake late. He does go down the inside onto the inside curb at Stowe. He's still there. He makes contact. He spins out again. Brett making another crucial error in this race. Brett just not acting smart and driving smart, and he spins out in a crucial point in the race, and that is it. Surely in this Grand Prix, Brett spins out. He might have damage. That was not his fault whatsoever. He left a lot of space, but Brett just tried to get on the power too early and just drove into the side pod of Tice, and that is a very unfortunate moment there in this race for Brett, who just looked like he was being too impatient in this race and spun himself out. That is unfortunate, but it was a fair moment, and it was not Tice's fault. No further investigation, I would assume, for that incident, as Ian now is the center of attention. It's actually a good chance for Dan now, in fact, with more ERS, way more ERS than Brett. Maybe he can make a move on Brett, if anything, while defending from Ian. This is interesting, but that's the thing. Brett has no ERS to defend, and Ian lost a lot of time in the first sector. Yeah.
Oh, he's been battling Sander for a long time.
You know, yeah, Ian has really improved on pace today. This is a very good race between these two. The best battle of this race so far, in terms of intensity, I'd say, has been between Dan and Ian, because the amount of mistakes both drivers have been making has made it very interesting to watch and very captivating. As again, this is a good opportunity for Ian with a huge run. Had a much better Magus and Beckett's, had a good exit down the hangar straight, going into Stone now. Hugs inside, a really good line. That's incredible corner there from Ian. Gain about a full 10th going through the corner and gets a better exit. So if he can stake, oh, but he went a little bit too deep into the fail chicane. Come right exit, no, because Dan didn't get the best exit again, and that means that Ian has a good opportunity now with a little bit less ERS than Dan. Once again, Dan managed to save just enough. And to be fair, Brett has been gaining on Tice, but Tice has an ERS advantage. So even if he closes up on the final lap somehow, it doesn't matter, because I think that Tice will be able to defend on the final lap and save in the last 6 laps or so. But Ian is so close, but he just gets in the power early enough. Will that be enough to make a move? No, Dan is really good at that corner this race. Ian will be close enough that if he just stays in the slipstream, he's going to manage to get a little bit closer down the straight. But yeah, Ian driving a very smart race by saving ERS, but to be honest, he's better off just using a little bit in the last 5 laps or so, just so he can try and mount a challenge. Because as much as Dan is better on ERS, I don't think Dan has the speed to ERS to defend really in this race if Ian does mount an attack at the end. But I think Ian is better off what he's doing at the moment. He's driving very smart, as Brett brings the gap under 5 seconds. It was 1.6. He's managed to make it down to under 5. Oh, really good exit. Can he make a move into Magus and Beckett's? That's incredibly risky as he goes down here onto the sausage curve. As contact, they're side by side, almost contact through Magus and Beckett's now, as Brett is gaining a lot of time on Tice in the meantime. But it is the main battle for 3rd position now. The battle for the podium really intensifying, as Ian got a fantastic exit out of Cop's corner. He's just not staying in the slipstream though. I'm not sure why. He just needs to. I mean, there's no such thing as overheating in the series. He's better off just staying in the slipstream. But Ian now, a good exit again. Will he make a dive? When he tries it, he thinks about it, and that does force an error from Dan, who goes in deep trying to give space. And a bad exit as well has compromised him. So this is interesting. This is so close. Brett has more pace than Tice outright, but that's just because Tice is saving ERS quite a lot. But he has gained a lot of time at the end of this race. Could be a battle maybe on the final lap if he's not careful, but here we go. Dan once again just staying close, but Ian taking aggressive line. Let's see what the difference is in the lines here. Looking at the offboard. Oh, it's a good exit this time here from Ian. It's much better than usual. Is it close? No, I wouldn't say so. It's just so difficult to make a move. Dan is crucially good in the corners that count and has just enough ERS to defend as well. So it's really interesting to see this interesting DRS battle between Brett and... Oh, so I keep saying Brett. It's Dan and Ian as they head down here out onto the old pit straight. And again, Ian is just better on the corners where it just doesn't seem to be realistic for him to make a move. But into cups, it looks like Ian has been very good through cups here. If he can just keep a cool head, he can make a move. A nice cups again, as usual. He does manage to gain just a little bit of time in the slipstream as well on the exit of the corner. Not the best corner, but he does still have the DRS crucially, so he'll stay closer, and he's gaining a lot of time in the slipstream. He gained about 2 or 3 tenths almost there on the straight, so that mistake will be nullified by that. on the exit of the corner again. Really good at Stowe corner, both drivers in fact that lap. And Brett again still gaining time at making it under 4 seconds, but it doesn't matter because I don't think he has the pace just about to make anything on Tice, and even if he did, he doesn't have the ERS crucially to make a move stick because Tice has 60%, and that is massive. And down the inside into the first corner, that's really aggressive, and he gives the space. I did not see that happening there, but a really good exit from Ian has given him this opportunity. He goes down the inside down here. This is very aggressive. He gives the space, he goes really slow on the inside, but now Dan has the inside line, but he's smart, he gives himself the DRS. That is crucial down here, and he gets a good exit too, but he just makes a mistake on the exit again. This is really getting intense in the fast 4 laps between Ian and Dan for the battle for the podium places. Brett is now 3.8 seconds behind Tice, and again, a big mistake from Ian there as he goes wide, but he doesn't lose too much time there, crucially. Goes in deep, gets a straighter line, but it's just really close between these two in this intense battle for 3rd place. It just seems to happen at any time in the lap. You just cannot take your eye off it without something happening. It's a really interesting battle between these two. One of the best I've seen in a while for the podium places. A race long battle for lead, both drivers with the same amount of, as he goes wide through cups, but he doesn't lose too much time there. That isn't the best line through cups because it's a very fast corner, so the faster corners it's actually slower to go wide. As again Ian going through the lost a bit of time on the straight as Ty's saying, oh my god, I'm not sure why. What has happened to Tice? Almost spun. If he spun here, that would be massive for Brett to get a big chance, but Tice would just have the pace and the ERS to make back the time. So Tice hasn't really got to worry about pushing too much here. Unless Brett can keep up this pace he's got, he needs to gain a second a lap to the end of the race, and that's just not possible, I don't think. He'll have to make a move on the last lap at Stowe, and I don't know if he's going to have the pace for that. As once again, Ian closes up in the last sector, but he is gaining time. Brett is so fast in this race, but just again, Tice has the ERS to defend, and it's not going to be enough as Ian stays close through the first sector. But again, it's going to be crucial. Can he get a good exit? He needs to focus on the exit of this corner, but he gets in way too tight of a line, and that's going to give Dan an advantage. But he gets on the power early this time. That does make him go drift out a bit wide, but he will get a good exit still. But again, the gap is always 6/10 down the straight on the Wellington straight, and that's crucial for Dan in his attempt of defending. And Dan doing Tice strategies now. I think he's learned a bit from Tice this race. He's 90% ERS versus Ian's 45, so this is really...
I wasn't even paying attention to my ERS this entire time.
And as it shows, and it's really helped you a lot because now you've got way more ERS to defend against Ian, but Ian needs to use that ERS at the right time to launch a surprise attack at a time of the lap where it's hard to come back at you. That is what he needs to think about now. Ian has the pace to stay with him, and that's crucial in this race. And Dan has been making mistakes occasionally, but it seems like he's managed to clear his head a little bit in the second half of the race. He's not made many mistakes, he's just managed to keep a tight line, but Ian just seems to have really good pace. In this Magnussen-Becker section, this again, Dan runs wide. Will he use ERS this lap? I don't think he will, because it's not the wisest idea at this point in the race. He needs to use it on the final lap or the last 2 laps and try and make an attack like that. As he makes ERS just a little bit on the exit, or the end of the straight there, crucially. As now, the gap is down to 2.5 seconds. This is really close here between the leaders, as Brett's trying to use ERS that doesn't exist. Oh, that's contact between Dan and Brett. I mean, Dan and Ian. I keep saying Brett. Why do I keep saying Brett? Anyway, Ian onto the back of Dan in the braking zone.
Ian, do you have damage?
Ian has no damage, but he's staying really close. Dan is under massive pressure from Ian this lap. This is really interesting to watch. And yeah, no, Tice using ERS, and there's nothing that Brett can do here. Brett is completely defenseless in his battle for the lead. Ian once again just being impatient, taking tight lines when he doesn't need to because he thinks that getting the better exit speed like that works, but with the full traction control it just doesn't really work. And again, yeah, bad exit there for Ian, unfortunately, because he took a really tight line and just doesn't have the advantage, it seems, in that corner anyway, so that's just not going to help him very much in his bid to take 3rd position in this race. But it's not over yet because again, a really good corner through Brooklands. Dan is really going wide, and that's going to be huge for Ian as he gets a really good line. So once again, a mistake coming into this race for Dan. Really seems to be his Achilles heel this race. His one problem has been mistakes in that section of the lap. And again, through Cop's corner, understeer massively there, for going down to 150 miles per hour minimum speed there for Ian isn't going to help him very much. As Dan has used a little bit of ERS, he's on 80% now, as 50% now for Ian, so it's closing up between the two of them in ERS statistics going on to the final lap. This is interesting. When will Ian use his ERS? It needs to be at the right time, and he needs to be able to defend as well, so it's going to be crucial on this last part of the lap. Purple, yeah, probably because of the ERS you were using there. You have so much speed, and just Brett doesn't have the pace. Brett hasn't got the ERS to do anything as well, so yeah, it looks like it's going to be a comfortable win for Tice, despite what Brett threw at him. Just mistakes cost him in this race, and it ruined the lead battle. Oh, really wide for Dan. This is a huge opportunity for Ian down the inside into Abby. I don't think it's worth it. He's going to have to probably back out. No, but Dan gives the space. Oh, that was really close to contact down into turn 1, and it's really close. But Dan will manage to stay ahead on the final lap of the race. This is the final lap. Ian is really close. He just, again, needs to think about his lines through here, and it's going to be good. He gets on the power really early. Will he use any ERS on this lap? I don't think it's worth it, but he could use a little bit just to close the gap. Maybe, but Dan has so much. But no, he's on 50%, so it's really close ERS statistic-wise between Dan and Ian on this final lap. Brett has gained a bit of time on this lap to Tice, so it doesn't really matter. As long as he doesn't spin out, Tice is very much in a comfortable position to win the race here. Now, this is it. It's all going to come down to the... Ian has one opportunity into... He has one opportunity into Stoke Corner, and if he... if Ian saves, look how much faster he is anyway. Look, listen to me, Ian. If Ian's best opportunity, he's been faster through Max Becker's all race. If he just keeps a nice tight line here, it's a little bit untidy here. But he gets a good exit anyway. This is going to be crucial down here with the DRS and the ERS. Can he get ahead? But Dan is deploying as well, and he has slightly more ERS, and it's just not enough. He's not gaining any time. So it's all going to come down to the final chicane, where Dan has been known to make mistakes. So who knows? It's not over till it's over in this race. Ian might make a dive bomb. If he's close enough, he might have to just try anything he can. Maybe just try and stay close enough to make a move on the final corner. He gets on the power early, but no, it's not enough as Dan does an incredible drive. But on the line, it's going to be closest. Oh, 1.5 tenths on the line. Ian doesn't quite manage to get past Dan. An incredible drive. What a battle between those two. And the British Grand Prix is won by a Tice game of 10. Incredible race between Dan and Ian. And the driver of the day, deservedly so, goes to Tice after a phenomenal drive, a dominant race here today. Led almost every single lap today, besides a few.
I've not had this much fun in a race in a while.
That was a good race for Dan there.
Yeah.
Wow, very interesting race.
My headset was not really helping. My headset kept being weird and
A good comeback drive, to be fair, from Brett, who managed to gain 4 seconds of genuine time at the end of this race. So Brett had the pace today, it just didn't quite come together for him.
If he didn't do that, if he didn't go